Hello, just a quick content warning. I am going to be talking about kidnapping and abuse in case you might feel triggered by those topics. So all the events in this episode take place on approximately the 29th of August, 93, 94, and 95. So this is Kate's birthday episode, and she spends her birthday with her friends and with Jamie at the mall, where Jamie gives her a promise ring. By the way, Jamie had spoken to Kate's father, Rod, about his intentions of giving her the promise ring. Kate is a little bit less than enthusiastic about it, and in general it's as though she suddenly finds herself, struggling a little bit to relate to her friends. They're still kind of immature, or rather they're just acting their ages, and Kate has not only received attention from somebody a lot older, which might make her feel mature, but it seems as though Martin is the only person that she can confide in. Jamie even gets drunk and he spills a drink on her, and she has to help walk him home. She might have felt disappointed or irritated with his behavior before, but once again, now that she has this attention from Martin, Jamie does come across even more immature. So on the walk home, they pass by Martin's house, and he's quite drunk and he's making a racket, which causes Martin to come outside, and eventually he offers Kate a ride home because she's already in trouble for being late for the dinner that her mother is throwing. By the way, I had to remind myself that Jamie stalked and punched Jeanette in the face, and he also really gaslit Kate, and he's seriously bad news because in this episode, he rarely played the kind of goofy, immature boyfriend, he's just young and harmless character really well. In the car, Kate kind of opens up to Martin again and asks him for advice on how to handle her difficult situation at home, and they have a moment. Predictably, Kate's mother is fuming by the time she gets home, and she tells Kate that she sent everybody away. Kate finally confronts her mother about kissing Scott Jones, and Rod is there, and it ends up being kind of a big blowout. Kate's mother is just unbelievable in this scene, basically selling Kate down the river to try and save herself and keep her secret. She accuses Kate of lying, slaps her, and then tells Rod in no uncertain terms that he's to stay out of the way she disciplines her daughter, and this scene is heartbreaking and infuriating. Kate then begins to pack her things, wanting to run away, and of course her mother is gassing her up, daring her to run away. Now, I've always thought that Kate's mother was manipulative, competitive, shallow, and very mean, but I felt like this crossed the line over into abuse in this episode, although I do think that the signs were always there. Anyway, Kate ends up going over to Martin's house. She tells him that things didn't quite work out and her mother hit her and she has nowhere else to go, not to any place that her mother wouldn't find her anyway, and of course Martin lets her in. In 1994, of course it's Kate's birthday again, and her parents have this strange birthday surprise that she can do an interview to tell her side of the story on national television. Kate refuses, and it's around this time that Mallory and Kate start to get close after their initial meeting in the therapist's office. We do get a few scenes of Kate in the basement, and Martin predictably manipulates her, and he tells her that the people in her life have given up looking for her and Jamie has moved on. This is her world now. So there is evidence even later on that Kate might have suffered from Stockholm Syndrome. We see on the news that there was another girl who had a close call with Martin, and Kate's reaction to this news is interesting. She tells her parents that Martin actually told her about this girl and that he was only tutoring her. She accuses those girls of looking for their 15 minutes of fame and that they shouldn't equate what happened to them with what had happened to her. Obviously, Martin manipulated her into emotional attachment, and this is just part of the complex dynamic between captors and their victims. The latter can unfortunately find themselves defending or at least almost identifying with their captors. Kate does show a kind of concern for Martin here, and her mother, who is absolutely terrible, uses this to actually encourage her to do an interview so that she could tell her side of the story and set the record straight. So basically the adults in Kate's life, apart from her dad Rod and her therapist, are constantly failing her. You can tell in Kate's mom's relationship with Rod as well that she's kind of the domineering one. I'm glad that in this episode we see him put his foot down and make it clear that Kate is his daughter too and he has a say. Still, I do not know what this man sees in that lady. We don't get any answers this episode about who Annabelle is. We see Kate is trying to remember, but she's deeply distressed in therapy when she tries to remember it again, and when she's listening to the tapes, she can't recall either. Not yet, anyway. In 1995, on Kate's birthday, Mel is now the assistant manager of the roller rink, and she gifts Kate with an evening of hanging out there, and honestly, honestly, this was my favorite scene of the episode, maybe of the show. I'm going to choose not to be suspicious of Mallory's intentions here because it was just nice to see her do this for Kate, and it was really nice to see Kate genuinely smile and laugh after everything she's been through. Unfortunately, later, Mallory does find a piece of paper that's jammed in the printer, and we get a kind of the call is coming from inside the house moment where we find out that it was actually Kate's mother who wrote the lion note. Kate confronts her mother not just about the note, but about everything. The fact that she raised Kate to be so obedient that she kind of made her an easy target for men like Martin. And as for Kate's mother's motivation for the letter, she says that she did it so that Kate would be motivated to take the lawsuit seriously. By the end of the episode, we see Derek and Kate's sister, and they're in bed together in her dorm room. And I know last week I was suspicious by how he was just always randomly around, but it seems he plays a kind of pivotal role in all of this. So as Kate's sister is taking a shower, Derek asks if he can check his email, and she obviously doesn't hear, so he goes ahead. He switches on her computer, and the screen shows all of Kate's chats with her sister, who is anonymous, on the forum. He prints all of those out and actually takes them to Jeanette, who then reads them and says that Kate went to Martin's willingly and that changes everything. As we all know though, the fact that Kate went there willingly changes absolutely nothing. Martin still prevented her from leaving at some point. I really hope that this doesn't turn into some kind of victim blaming situation, because this show, while it's unflinching in its quite realistic portrayal of what happens in these situations, I feel for Kate and I think that she's been through enough, even for a fictional TV show. Anyway, that's it for this video. I found this episode to be quite heavy, so I'm glad that they split the episodes up into Jeanette's and Kate's, because I don't think I'd be able to handle those basement scenes or even the Martin scenes every single week. While this was a difficult episode, I definitely think it was a good one. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below, and thank you for watching.